Fall is here in Walla Walla, and that means it's harvest time. Bringing in the harvest in 1895 was a lot of hard work. Everyone chipped in to help, and when it was finally done, we could relax and read the Walla Walla Gazette. This issue is October 5th, 1895. R.H. Osborne found guilty. From the evidence submitted, this court finds you guilty as charged and binds you over to United States Court with bonds of $100, was the sentence pronounced upon R.H. Osborne Monday. The defendant was a peanut and candy dealer who had been dispensing drinks of various kinds from his stand at number 18 East Main Street since he located there. The case was brought by United States Revenue Inspector Blackman of Portland. Through his deputy Jack Leahy, United States Commissioner Dovell heard the evidence. The case was called for 2 p.m., but its progress was retained for some minutes while Deputy United States Marshal Parker should go out and round up the editor of the Gazette, Wilbur F. Brock, one of the witnesses for the United States. In reply to questions, Mr. Brock stated that during the last term of the United States Court in May, Mr. Osborne had sold wine to Indians. That of one of these came to his place after a night in a state of intoxication after he had been drinking the wine purchased by Mr. Osborne. When examined upon this point, Brock admitted that he himself purchased a bottle of beer from Osborne, paying therefore 18 cents. This testimony was corroborated by A.C. Cummins, foreman of the Gazette, who saw the transactions. Mr. Cummins also saw the liquor sold to the Indians and frequently observed cases among the effects of Osborne. Mr. Osborne, in his defense, said that he thought the wine made by the grapes of Frank Roselli was not intoxicating. After carefully considering and reviewing the evidence, Commissioner Dovell announced that he deemed Osborne guilty and remanded him to the United States District Court. Thereupon Osborne jumped to his feet and in an angry voice exclaimed, "I will not give bonds." The court then placed Osborne in the hands of the United States Marshal F.J. Parker. Later in the day, Osborne secured bondsmen and was released until the setting of the United States grand jury. So far as the editor of the Gazette is concerned, he tried to avoid being brought into court, not relishing the unpleasant notoriety attendant upon such a case. He even attempted to escape service of summons by Deputy U.S. Marshal Parker. That worthy dignitary reminded him very emphatically that, if you don't appear as ordered, you are liable to a fine of $200 for contempt of court. You have to come to the trial, sir. It is against the professional ethics of all journalists to go to the witness stand. When they have anything to communicate upon the matter, it is to their interest to write and publish it. Only lawyers and preachers live by talking. A revolver in the house gives a sense of security. Probably you will never have actual use for it, but, well, then you will need it badly, and the one you will want is hammerless Smith & Wesson safety revolver, because it acts instantly in emergencies and never goes off by accident, safe in the hands of a child. Send for some illustration catalog, Smith & Wesson. Sheriff Gray of Franklin County and Deputy Sheriff Young of this city were discourteous enough Sunday to make an uninvited call at the home of 2 crooks in a boxcar at the OR&N depot. The men were E.A. Bowl, an ex-convict, and Thomas Brennan. Black caps and handkerchiefs, 2 pistols, and a general assortment of files and skeleton keys were found in their possession, and they were arrested. Nothing serious developed against them, and they were merely fined $25 each for carrying concealed weapons. The Eunice Goodrich Company will be coming to the Walla Walla Opera House on Monday evening, October 7th, with a special matinee Saturday for women and children, with the phenomenally low prices of 10, 20, 30, and 50-cent seats for the evening, and 10 cents for children all over the house, and 20 cents for adults. As a special feature of Monday night's performance, ladies' tickets will be distributed about the city, which will admit a lady free to the best reserved seats when accompanied by a paid reserve ticket. Or in other words, a gentleman desiring to escort a lady to the performance Monday night can, by buying one reserved seat at 50 cents for himself, obtain 2 seats for the price of 1. Miss Goodrich is undoubtedly the cleverest repertoire star now before the public, and has been surrounded by a company seldom equaled, among whom may be mentioned Mr. W.H. Van Etten, the well-known stage manager and character actor, Mr. Paul Boardman, the successful character comedian, and many other stage celebrities. Fred M. Pauley imported Key West and domestic cigars, plug cut, granulated, and fine cut tobaccos. Walla Walla, Washington. He keeps his head. Joe L. Hull, the popular proprietor of the OK Barbershop, has been keeping regular hours at his place of business during his honeymoon. His many friends engage in pleasantry with him to the effect, "Joe, you are the only man in town whose head is strong enough to control his heart at this critical moment." Mr. Hull divided his name last week with Miss Emma Height, an amiable and accomplished young lady who has been prominent in Christian work at the First M.E. Church. J.A. Dunham says that he learned while in the East that the Pennsylvania Lions had combined with the CB&Q to extend their tracks westward to the Pacific coast. They are making an effort to get a right-of-way from the government to build through Yellowstone National Park. The scenic and commercial advantages for Walla Walla should be presented to the managers of the enterprise so that the great transcontinental line might come this way. Interesting experiment. Seat yourself in a comfortable position, have the room perfectly quiet, with a strong light falling over your left shoulder, and read this paragraph slowly through, being careful to keep your mind concentrated upon what you are doing. Fix your eyes intently upon the right-hand spot while you slowly count to 10. Then place the tip of your right forefinger against the middle of your forehead. Close your eyes and try to remember whether you have paid your subscription to the Walla Walla Gazette for this year. If the foregoing directions are followed carefully, the result is very pleasing indeed to the publishers. A drunken woman is a pitiable spectacle, and when one was seen to get off the W&C-RR train Monday with the air of a sport, it created a mingled feeling of pity and disgust. She was well dressed and carried a grip and swaggered clumsily down the street, replying in kind to the jibes and taunts that assailed her. Downtown, the police took her in tow, and she was promptly locked up, being booked on the jail register as Mrs. John Doe. Ben Oppenheimer, a traveling man who is always welcome in Inland Empire towns for both social and business reasons, was engaged in interviewing our hardware men Tuesday. Mr. Oppenheimer relates a yarn of some interest concerning 2 of his Walla Walla friends who lately took in Portland sights. One is obese to a large degree, and the other goes to the opposite extremes in avoirdupois. The small man piloted his friend about the town until they became separated in some manner, when the large man struck out for his hotel, the St. Charles. By an extraordinary optical illusion, he mistook a small alley for the hotel. It was a long alley, and attempting to get through it, he became wedged between the walls and could not move, remaining in this uncomfortable position until morning. Meantime, the small man engaged the chief of police's assistants to search for his friend, and while out scouting himself he lost his watch and chain, so it was a sorrowful night off for both. It is supposed, however, that some McMinnville friends of the small man know something about the watch and chain, and the property will eventually be returned. In the morning, the large man was found and released from his predicament.